Hello, faithful listeners. My name is Clay Thompson, and I'll be your guide in the fiction room. Today's prompt comes from username The Insignificant Guy. Instead of an angel and a demon sitting on your shoulders, one side sits a brash New Yorker, and the other a posh British gentleman. Neither are necessarily good or evil. They just make passing comments on your day-to-day activities. As always, I hope you'll enjoy listening to these stories as much as I enjoy reading them. But without further ado, let us begin with our first story, written by Croatian Spy.
"Jolly good show, my good man,"
he said, sitting on the right of my shoulder and deeply inhaling from his pipe.
"Positively smashing."
I'd been watching Stranger Things for the last couple of hours, trying to block them out.
"What kind of trash is this?"
the man on the left of my shoulder chimed, pacing up and down the length of it.
"This is just garbage. Garbage, I tells you. Bob didn't deserve to go like that."
I sighed. I had not been succeeding. The bank teller peered quizzically at my shoulders, and I tried to smile. "Please, it's best to try and ignore them," I told her, glancing down briefly and praying that Mike would be able to keep it together. It's a condition."
"Nice face on this, bud, you know what I'm talking about,"
he said, staring directly at her. Charles leaned over to chastise him.
Now, Michael, what if we told you about manners? Although I dare say that is certainly a beautiful face."
I apologized profusely before security could escort me out. After much deliberation, the two of them convinced me to go out to the library. This was always a challenging affair, as libraries were made for silence, and regardless, the three of us would need to pick a book that all of us liked to read. No such book existed. We, were browsing the aisles, Charles trying to direct me to 18th century geopolitics, and Mike complaining that there were no dirty magazines. I whispered for them to be quiet, and in the ensuing silence, I heard three women speaking in increasing volume to my right. The librarian shushed the women, and I heard one of them apologize, and then the three continued in hushed voices. Again, the librarian told them to be quiet. I rounded the corner, engrossed in my quest for fiction, and accidentally bumped into one of them. Well, actually all of them.
"Watch where you're going, you dunderhead,"
a tiny voice said while I attempted to pick up the fallen books.
"Fran, please watch your language, as I think you'll find we're in the company of gentlemen,"
another tiny voice said, as we, slowly looked up. A beautiful woman stood before us. Furthermore, two more women stood on her.
"By gods,"
Charles said, dropping his pipe.
"Holy crap,"
Mike replied. I stammered.
"Please, don't mind them,"
the woman said with a nervous smile. I nodded, still speechless. I had never been able to talk to girls, not with these two on my shoulders. But this could work.
"You better take this guy to town before I do it myself,"
the tiny brash woman on her left chimed.
"Or perhaps a delicatessen first?"
the tiny posh woman on her right replied. The librarian shushed us on our way out. Okay, this is a little bit of a nerd thing, but this reminds me of DBZ Abridged, where Piccolo has the characters Nail and Kami in his head, and just the witty banter between all of them, so I greatly enjoyed this. And now let's move on to our second story, written by Adlai King. Mark took a deep breath, then pushed open the door to the bar. He ordered a Greyhound on the rocks, and took a moment to survey the room. It was getting crowded, but not yet to that rub up against multiple strangers just across the room point. Embers of hope began to glow inside Mark. Maybe this could work. He smiled to himself, still surveying the room. A few pool tables, a few dartboards, and Oh wow, a shuffleboard table. It even looked like it was in decent condition. Maybe he could see if one of the young women drinking what looked to be vodka and cranberry wanted to... A patron bumped into Mark and said,
"Watch it, dingus,"
without breaking stride. That's when things took a turn. The face of the small but portly man standing on Mark's left shoulder went scarlet with poorly contained rage.
"What did you just call me? Hey, don't you walk away from me! I'm talking to you, jerk!"
Mark cringed. Some of the people closest to him were staring now. Others were nudging their friends. Still, as long as there was no response from Nigel, things would probably...
"The language of the bard. Truly your words drop as gentle rain from heaven."
So much for that idea.
"You shut it, Limey, or I'll rip off your jowls and dunk 'em in that swill you call tea."
A wave of silence had washed over the room. A few dozen cell phones seemed to have materialized out of thin air, all of them held aloft and pointed at Mark.
"Quite."
Mark sighed and began trying to pick his way through the crowd. He was muttering for the 100th time a prayer about being able to get out of the room before...
"What are you looking at, big face? Hey, don't get mad at me. Get mad at whoever told you could fit that giant melon in a tube top."
Mark raced out of the bar, getting home as fast as he could. He pulled a piece of paper off his dresser and brought it to the table. He scanned 2/3 of the way down the page before he found the name of the bar and crossed it out. Maybe tomorrow would be better, he thought ruefully. Now this story makes it come off as being an actual mental condition, having these basically two parasites on your shoulders doing nothing but messing up your day, and kind of makes you feel sorry for the guy that suffers from it. And now let's move on to our final story, written by Vipsilix.
"Oh dear,"
said John.
"You messed up,"
said Jack. They both nodded. It was the first time they had agreed in 3 days, which didn't help me much since my foot was still broken from the fall and the big guy was still climbing down the fire escape. Maybe he would be as ungraceful as me when he jumped at the end.
"I would not bet on that, sir. Not a chance, bro."
Well, maybe you two dialectic parasites could come up with a plan?
Really, there is no need... Oh, shut up! Dude needs a plan, not English lessons.
Well, I never.
Plan!
The steps were getting closer. The big guy was panting. Why didn't he shoot? Maybe no line of sight.
Well, I see a revolver over there. That's a pistol, bro. I'm sorry, now who's giving lessons in English?
I tuned them out. Yes, there was indeed a black pistol lying next to me. Still, while I'm not from Texas, I still figured there's probably more to shooting a gun than the movies made it out to be. Still, it was at least a plan. So I started crawling towards it. Oh, it hurt so bad.
"You go, sir!"
John exclaimed.
"Can you even fire that thing?"
Jack inquired. I put my hand on the handle. It was slick from the puddle it had been lying in. Did that matter? The clanks were close now. The big guy must be near the top.
Sir, might I suggest that we switch locations?"
Huh? I said.
"He means the fatso's gonna land on you if he can."
"Oh," I said. The clanking had stopped. Maybe the big guy was aiming as we spoke. I started rolling. Closer to the wall seemed like a good bet.
"Does the gun have a safety, sir?"
"I don't know. Jack, do you..."
"I ain't from frickin' Texas, bro!"
Some lumbering was heard. There was a thud. Big guy landed face first and his head was, well, no more.
"Oh, sweet heavens, I'm covered in him!"
John wailed.
"This was a brand new shirt,"
Jack complained. I puked.
"Who was that gentleman? He seemed awfully annoyed."
"He said something about money.
You owe him money, bro?"
I dropped the gun. It clanked to the ground. I could suddenly feel my legs again. I could hear sirens in the distance.
Oh, police officers. We shall soon be safe. So why is Timmy tripping? Whatever do you mean? Look at him, he's tripping. You misunderstand me. I don't understand what tripping. Can you two shut up for the love of God?
I started crawling toward the alleyway. No disrespect for New York's finest, but I wasn't exactly on their Christmas card list.
Sir? Certainly you are not wanted by the police. Yeah, what the heck, man? I didn't want to spend my afterlife watching you reenact the Shawshank Redemption.
I continued crawling.
And why are you even here, Jack? Where is the small red man with the fork? What do you mean, small red man with a fork? And where's that chick with the halo and the white dress? Heaven and hell are not open right now, I said.
They looked at me dumbfounded.
Whatever do you mean, sir? Yeah, what the heck, man?
It's a long story, I said, as I crawled the last feet to the sidewalk. I slowly managed to hobble myself up alongside a drain pipe.
Well, perhaps you should tell it, sir,
John demanded.
Yeah, man, don't leave us hanging,
Jack agreed.
Can you two stop agreeing? It freaks me out.
I swear I miss that smug little white-winged kitten and that tiny red freak. They looked at me with a certain hint of nervousness.
Sir? Bro?
You are temps, okay? Temps. You are filling in because the good guys and the evil guys have better things to do. Well, or worse, depending on your perspective.
Temps? That sucks!
Yeah, so unless you have the key to purgatory, both of you are going to shut up. They fall into silence.
Well, you know...
I looked at them with the same look of a man who's getting told by the wife he hates that she doesn't like him anymore.
I do have this broken key,
John said.
Yeah, me too,
Jack offered.
Oh, look.
They seem to fit together, John observed.
Huh,
Jack concluded.
Well then,
I said as I hobbled onto the street while hailing down a cab.
I might have a use for you after all. Ugh.
Glad to be of service, sir.
Oh, you shut up. You see,
I said as I painfully wrestled myself into the cab.
I need to be neither good nor evil to use that key. And somehow...
I looked at them both.
I think you two are perfect to achieve just that.
A good, suspenseful mystery-type thriller with just enough hints to keep you pulling along, but not enough information to give away everything. I like that. And now, dear listeners, we must unfortunately bid you farewell once again. Thank you all for tuning into the Fiction Room. If you like what you heard today, please consider leaving a like, a comment, and subscribing to the channel. It would really help us. But for now, wherever you are in the world, be safe, be well, and we'll see you all next time.